For you, and I am establishing a quorum here. We have all 5 of our council members here, and so we have a quorum. I am going to ask for the invocation right now. Is Gene, there he is. Gene.
Thank you so much for the way it reminds us of all the blessings that you've given to us and the ability to enjoy this area. We thank you so much for the city council and all the time and effort that they put into governing and legislating for this city. And we pray that you'll continue to give them wisdom and discernment as they govern for the good of all the citizens here in this area. We thank you for examples like the renovations at Fox Hollow Park, for an area that oftentimes is forgotten. We thank you for all their planning of traffic and safety. We thank you for the wisdom as they look to the future and to see what is best for our city and the best way to handle all the people that want to live here. We pray, Father, that you give them health and that you will give them energy. And thank you again for their service. In the power of your Son's name, Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Glazer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one nation, under God, one and indivisible. I would like to remind everyone in the room today that if you choose to speak today, please sign up at our desk over here with your pertinent information and the item which you want to speak to, please, so that we can have a record of that. We are going to start out today with our proclamations, as we typically do. And the first proclamation we have is for the CERT Appreciation Week. CERT stands for Community Emergency Response Team, and it is our individuals in this community that perform a valuable service to us. Would you like to give us a shorthand rendition of that before I read the proclamation?
Mayor, Council, thank you so much. In the 1980s, during the California earthquakes, communities, emergency responders learned quickly that they can get overwhelmed almost immediately when something really bad happens. So that's where CERT teams originated. We started ours several years ago, and we wanted to take the opportunity to thank them for the time that they put into it. It's a 22-hour basic course, and then they have regular meetings. We do regular trainings, and we try and do some exercising during city events so we can practice our communication skills. But we just want to say thank you to those volunteers who are giving up their time to help their neighbors.
We do, Chief Fowler, and we thank you as well for the leadership that you provide with this. I'm going to read our proclamation now, and it's from the City of Horseshoe Bay. Whereas the City of Horseshoe Bay is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living within and those visiting our city. And the City of Horseshoe Bay is vulnerable to disasters such as wildfires, severe storms, and floods. And whereas the establishment of the Horseshoe Bay CERT team is designed to better prepare the community for a disaster, and that CERT teams care deeply about their friends, neighbors, and visitors in the community, and whereas Horseshoe Bay CERT team members are dedicated and regularly train and volunteer their time within the community, I therefore, on behalf of the City of Horseshoe Bay, proclaim April 19 through 25, 2026, shall hereafter be known as CERT Team Appreciation Week in Horseshoe Bay. And I would ask Sue Davis to come forward And the other CERT team members, we would like for them to stand as well.
Y'all could come forward too after we give Sue her plaque, and then we have a gift for you. Right up here.
Thank you, Sue, for your wonderful help.
And so the team members, come on up here.
You're great. We'll stay out of the picture.
Big people in the front, little people in the back.
We have a challenge coin that the chief made special for you. So thank y'all for your service, very much appreciate everything.
I had to put my glasses on. I thought the next one was AAA.
Okay, if you drink water, you'll be happy to hear this next one. In conjunction with the American Water Works Association, we are going to pronounce this week, or May 3rd, to be Drinking Water Week. And we have a proclamation on this, but first, I believe we hear from, Cody.
Mayor, Council, thank y'all so much. Community, good to see everybody. We're excited for Water Week coming up. I guess a little background of what we're going to be doing. It's going to be on May 7th, that Thursday, from 2 to 4. It's going to be a little bit different this time. We want to focus primarily on how we make the water and send it out to you. It's going to be a little bit of a Citizens Academy, like a mini one, with a little bit of focus on water conservation at the end. So we're looking forward to it. Refreshments will be provided. We've gotten with Cindy, got it booked, and we're hoping we get a big turnout from the community. So.
Was your department responsible for the rain last night?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
sir. We made sure of it.
Good
and
job.
Hope y'all enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have a proclamation. Whereas water is our most valuable natural resource, and drinking water serves a vital role in daily life, serving an essential purpose to health, hydration, and hygiene needs for the quality of life that our citizens enjoy. And whereas tap water delivers public health protection, fire protection, support for our economy, and the quality of life we enjoy, the citizens of our city are called upon now to help protect our source waters from pollution, practice water conservation, and get involved with their water by familiarizing themselves with it. Now, therefore, on behalf of the City Council of the City of Horseshoe Bay, I proclaim May 3 through 9, 2026, hereafter be known as Drinking Water Week in Horseshoe Bay, Texas. And I have a proclamation for you, Cody. Okay, another public service recognition award, a proclamation, is going to be, Rachel Hearn is going to present that.
Hi, Council. Thank you, Mayor. May 3rd through 9th is Public Service Recognition Week. Annually, we get to celebrate the men and women who serve this community. And so we are extending this proclamation to have the community celebrate alongside us.
Right. I have a proclamation that I'd like to read. Whereas the citizens of Horseshoe Bay are served each day by public servants at the federal, state, county, and city levels, these unsung heroes do the work that keeps our city and nation working by ensuring clean water, public safety, integrity in elections and legislative processes, and proper management of public funds and resources. And whereas the City of Horseshoe Bay recognizes our local public servants working in the following areas: City Manager's Office, Legislative Services, Developmental Services, Code Enforcement, Finance, Fire, Human Resources, Technology Services, GIS, Communications, Municipal Court, Police and Animal Control, Public Works, and Utilities. I therefore proclaim that the City of Horseshoe Bay now recognizes the week of May 3 through 9, 2026, will hereafter be known as Public Service Recognition Week. Thank you, Ms. Hearn. One more proclamation. This is a proclamation for our Municipal Courts Week. And sometimes they're called city secretaries, but they're way more than that. They safeguard all of our paperwork, all of our seals, safeguard every document that we have in this city, an extremely important area. And the proclamation says, whereas the office of professional municipal clerk, also known as city secretary, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community, it is most appropriate today that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of professional municipal clerk Susie Quinn and records information manager Janice Nelson. Therefore, the mayor and the city council of Horseshoe Bay proclaim the following: May 3 through 9, 2026, we declare it as Professional Municipal Clerks Week in Horseshoe Bay. And I'm going to ask Susie Quinn to guard this safely, would you? Thank you. Thank you for your help.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any staff recognitions? I don't think we do we? Okay. Now comes to the part of the proceeding called public comment. And this is an extremely important part of our proceedings where you as the citizens can make comment on any matter that pertains and touches Horseshoe Bay and the community. And it's because we are bounded by state law, the people you see up here cannot respond to any of your comments. The reason for that is because it's not an agenda item unless you have chosen to speak on an agenda item. So if it's just plain old public comment and it's not on the agenda, we can't respond to you. It's not because we don't want to, it's just we can't. So anyway, I have one person who has signed up to speak, and it's on the nature trail, which I don't think is on our agenda list, and that is Denise Hilscher. Ms. Hilscher, please approach, and can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, sir. This is Denise Hilscher. I live at 101 Purple Granite West in Horseshoe Bay, Texas.
Thank you. You've got 3 minutes.
Okay. I would just like to see if we can do something, even if it's a volunteer basis, or if we can use a little bit of city funds to try to get all the dead vegetation out at the Nature Park Trail on, I think that's Golden Nugget back there. I think it's pretty overwhelming grown. If we could get in there, I would donate wildflower seeds and bluebonnets to get the butterflies back in there, the honeybees, and make it a little bit more attractive. Like the one y'all just built next door, it looks beautiful right now because all the little wildflowers are up, and that's the only comment I have. If we could do something to see if we can fix it up a little bit, it would be wonderful.
Great, thank you very much. I see my staff nodding over there that they're taking note of this. Thank you very much. These are the only people that I have signed up for our speaking today. So if there are no others, we will move to presentations today. And the first presentation is for information only. No action will be taken on this, but it is our Fries and Nichols consultants who are studying our subdivision regulations.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Wilson Kerr, 12770 Merritt Drive, Dallas, Texas. I am the project manager for the subdivision regulations update. I also have Laura Sakaras here that's going to be presenting with me. She's out of our San Antonio office. So I just want to give a quick update on the status of the subdivision regulations update, as well as we have some discussion items and a couple focus questions that we would like to pose to you all to get a little bit of direction as we move on and finish up this project. So first, I want to reintroduce our project team. As I mentioned, I'm the project manager. We also have on our team Laura Sakaras, project planner. She's kind of our technical lead throughout this project. And then not here today, we have Chance Sparks. He's our principal in charge, been with the firm for a very long time and has a lot of experience. He's out of our San Marcos office. Evan Olszewski, also out of our San Marcos office, and then Lavender Pack as well as a project planner. So just to reintegrate you all with the scope of work, we were hired by the city to update the city's subdivision regulations and make sure that it's consistent with the standards and procedures and best management practices in Texas. So making sure that it's updated to the latest state law standards, as well as best practices specifically within Hill Country. So here's the project schedule. As you can see here, this is our second check-in with you all. We did have a little bit of a holding pattern at the end of last year as y'all hired John on, so there was that staff handoff there. But we really hit the ground running at the beginning of the year to start the module development. We are currently working on Module 2, which is divisions 3 through 7 of the current subdivision regulations, and that is heading to our internal QC by the end of this week, and then out to staff for review by next week. And we will be back here in June also to kind of give an update, a little bit further update as well. So here are our meetings and engagements throughout the project. So we had an on-site kickoff and city tour. We spent the day with your staff driving around the city just so that we were able to understand the issues on the ground from the city. We have 3 council check-ins with you all. This is the second of those, and then an adoption meeting as well. I am going to hand it off to Laura here to talk about the module development since she was the technical lead on these.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. So as Wilson mentioned, the first document that your staff will see is, we call it Module 1. It's really Divisions 1 and 2 of your code. And this is where we focus on general provisions and administrative text, so it's the exciting part. But generally speaking, the module contents include your authority and jurisdiction, so your enabling language, your references to state law provisions. It dictates the hierarchy if there are conflicting provisions, and references design and technical manuals that may be associated with the subdivision regulations and development process. The major updates in this module were really some cleanup for language clarity, along with updating the definitions and removing some redundant language. We also focused on moving procedural items out of this section, and that will come to staff and to the city in Module 2. And then also aligning the language with state law and removing use-specific language that is zoning-specific and not subdivision regulation. sorry, I jumped ahead a little bit, but generally speaking, the module contents are listed here on the screen for your reference. And then also, as I mentioned, moving information from this section to sections that you will see later, procedural as well as regulatory information will be in standalone sections for ease of use and clarity in the future. And then, Wilson, did you want to cover Module 2?
Yeah, so coming back to Module 2, so this is where we're covering a lot of the plating procedures throughout. We noticed while we were doing our diagnostic report that you all reviewed and approved that there was a lot of lack of clarity throughout that. We wanted to make sure that the procedures were as specific and easy to read as possible. As you can see here on the right, that is a flow chart that we have done for a different city. This was Bee Cave specifically, but we like to add these into each of our new codes on its own standalone page for each of our procedures, so that developers and staff, while they're using the code, have that very easy one-page document so they know the process is moving forward. So the major updates, as it says here, aligning the plating procedures with state law changes. There have been a lot of changes at the state legislature in the past couple sessions towards plating, which is also going to be the subject to our discussion here in just a few minutes. And then also making sure we're simplifying those approval authorities, moving procedures, as Laura mentioned, from the administration section to these divisions, so that all of the procedures are housed within the same area so people aren't flipping back and forth. And one thing that we also want to point out, we add cross-references throughout our documents so that people can make sure they're flipping back and forth easy, just making sure that the document is as easy to use as possible. So gonna open up the questions and discussion here. So I want to point out House Bill 3699, that's the approval designee new bill that went through. This allows cities to designate an approval person or entity that for plating. So we have seen in other cities, the council has designated the city manager or the planning and development manager or director as the approval authority for plats, for certain plats. We've also seen other cities wanting that to be maintained as a council approval. So that also, HB 3699 also brings up the shot clock. So this is a new law that came out of last session, or 2 sessions ago, that requires all plats to be approved within 30 days of application, or the day of the plat's filed. So really, once that plat is given to city staff, you got 30 days to get it through. So that's why they decided to also put the provision for designees, because it kind of makes sure that all of those plats can get approved in that timely manner. So really what we want to know from you all today, and we don't have to know today, if you all want to think about it and discuss it amongst yourselves, is if you all would like to designate an approval entity or an approval person to approve plats. Either that can be all plats or that can be certain types of plats. We just really want to open that discussion up and have those questions or those recommendations from you all before we start putting pen to paper on those approval processes.
So theoretically, the application could be filed in a 31-day month on the first day, and the shot clock would run before, theoretically, the council would meet to approve.
Theoretically, I haven't seen that happen, but that's something that I can look into and see if that is accurate. I have not seen that happen specifically, but.
Matt, it could. So it could occur with us specifically because our July council meeting is in the middle and August so close to the end.
Okay.
We could potentially have one filed.
Right now, it's the council that approves plats.
Yes, sir.
Do we take action on this today, or?
think it's just guidance.
Yeah, this is just guidance, so the action will come whenever you all approve the subdivision regulations, but this is guidance for our writing moving forward.
I'll weigh in, just from my standpoint. I think the council ought to be the final determiner of that. But
Okay.
I agree. I think it's a big part of our responsibility for ensuring the community is what it is.
Sure. So one thing that I do, that we have seen also, is that preliminary plats are generally approved by council, and then final plats or minor plats can be approved by a director. That kind of helps ease some of that tension within that. So wanted to present that to you all to see if that would potentially be an option as well, just to make it a little bit easier on yourselves as well as staff.
usually by the time it gets here as the final plat, it's been signed off by staff. So I don't see a problem either way, actually, but,
Provided there's no material changes.
yeah.
Yeah, that would be the condition, I think, Rick, if it looks like the preliminary, then certainly.
Yeah.
But if it's, 'cause I think we have one today, actually, on the agenda
Yeah, we
to
do.
approve.
We do.
But I don't know if you can make that distinction that, hey, there's enough of a alteration that we would need to see it.
We've made those distinctions in the past. So we have put in codes before preliminary approval by council, and then so long as the final plat meets all the
Reflects what
standards
it
laid
was
out,
in
or
this.
meets everything in the preliminary plat, then that can be approved by staff.
That would work.
That's
Okay.
good, that works. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, that covers my questions. So thank you all very much. Are there any other questions on the subdivision regulations process or anything that you all wanted to discuss?
Looks good.
Does look good, particularly the policy section. That's precisely the direction that we need to head. And I know this is probably some boilerplate from some other communities, but fits right into ours.
Great.
Yeah.
Glad to
Okay,
hear it.
thank you all for coming.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you for your time.
That brings us to our public hearing item. And it is a public hearing, discussion, consideration, and possible action on an application for the approval of Silver Rock Final Plat, number 1.4, which consists of 8 single-family lots and 3 commercial lots for the property at 71 in Silver Rock Loop. I am going to open the public hearing at 3:27. We're going to hear from, are you stepping away?
I didn't.
John Byram.
I can. Good evening, Mayor and Council. For the record, John Byram, Development Services Director. Speaking of final plats, we have a final plat in front of you this evening. You would have seen the preliminary plat back in November. Again, just to go over it real quick, it's the Silver Rock final plat. You're looking at 8 residential lots that average roughly 5 acres, so that's meeting that low density that the city likes to look for, along with 3 commercial lots. The zoning is a PD. As I said, the prelim was back in November. Everything is in compliance with that preliminary plat. The updated comments that we have for you were placed on your desk. It's the one with the green comments. So what staff is requesting is that approval with the conditions that all comments get cleared before staff, gives the final approval. That way, they don't have to wait to come back once it's completely done. Again, it is a public hearing, and we do have the applicant present.
Okay. We've got the applicant, Modern Homes. Rick, would you like to approach the podium and say anything? Rick Towns?
Yes, sir. Mayor and council, thank you for having us, and we look forward to working together as always and appreciate all the work that you do and review it. I will say we worked with Freeze on a project near Austin, and they did a very good job and were very thorough, so good choice on your selection there.
Thanks very much. And good choice on making, what was it, 24 lots into 8?
32 lots into 8.
Into 8.
I love it.
That's great. 5 acres, almost everyone is 5 acres. That's super. Thank you very much. Council, do you all have some questions for the applicant or the staff? No questions? I will entertain a motion. Oh, I need to close the public hearing, don't I? What's that?
It's, if there's anybody else that wants to speak?
Oh, yeah, is there anyone else who wants to speak to this? Nobody signed up? Okay. We only had one sign up for any speaking today. So,
Okay, I move to approve the Silver Rock.
no, we need to close the public hearing at 3:30. Public hearing is closed at 3:30
Now,
Central.
I move to approve the Silver Rock final plat request with the condition that all outstanding comments from staff are cleared.
Motion by Councilman Hosea. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Morgan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All against? The ayes have it. Final plat is approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Good job.
We're going to move on now to business, and we have, the first action is approval of ordinance 20-26-10, authorizing the issuance and sale of City of Horseshoe Bay tax revenues of Obligation Series 2026, and I think that's going to be Molly. Yes.
That is correct. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I'm here today to talk about approving an ordinance 2026-10. The one in your packet is a draft ordinance. The sale actually took place today, and so I have emailed you, each one of you, the final ordinance and the red line from the ordinance that's in your packet to the ordinance that is final. Also, it's missing the pricing information, but I do have our bond advisor, Jennifer Ritter. She's here to talk about the sale and the bids that came in and the price. Do you want to come up?
Thank you, Jennifer Ritter with Specialized Public Finance. Good to see you all. I have a presentation that we handed out before the meeting started. I'll just briefly go through it with your permission, as we've done in prior sales. So the first page here is just the rating report from Standard & Poor's. As you all know, you have a AA+ bond rating from Standard & Poor's. That's one notch below the highest, which is AAA. Your staff did an amazing job. We brought out the Standard & Poor's analysts 6 weeks ago or so to do an actual on-site meeting with them, gave them a tour. They got to see the resort, and actually one of the analysts stayed over the weekend, so we got some sales tax out of them too, it sounds like. So that all worked out pretty well. We did make a push. Your city manager did a great job, and finance team did a great job as well of making a push for the upgrade, as well as the mayor. So they considered that to get you to the AAA. The report sort of speaks for itself if you have a chance to look at it, but the factors holding you back, they did consider it with their committee. They're not there yet. The factors holding you back are some diversification of the sort of revenue sources. You're very heavily dependent on property taxes. A little bit less in terms of sales taxes and a diverser economy. And I know over the years that's been a council priority, is to keep this kind of a residential-based community, which is fine, but that's just one of the considerations that they put in there. And they talk about the economy, which is odd when you look around Horseshoe Bay to think that you're not getting full points for having a sort of wealthy tax base and economy, but how they look at that is for the county levels. So they look beyond just the city itself onto the county, so you're being held back a little bit by some of those county economic levels. But it's all in the report. They mention that as the tax base diversifies and continues to grow, as in theory, the economy of the counties starts to improve as well in terms of income levels, those will be factors that can speak favorably to you all being considered for it. But it usually takes a couple of years after we start asking for that upgrade before we finally see it. So hopefully we'll have some good news here a little bit down the road. So I wanted to talk about interest rates. I mean, clearly, if you're watching the market and gas prices and everything else that's happening, it might not seem like it's a good time to sell in the bond market, but the good news is, and we'll talk about on the preceding pages here, you got 10 bids this morning through your competitive sale. We did a one-year chart. I'm sorry it's not up here for the audience, but essentially Interest rates started to go down last year as the Federal Reserve began to cut interest rates. We did see a little bit of a spike with the start of the engagement or action that we have over in Iran as gas prices started to rise as well. And we have come down from that a little bit. The markets, there's so much news happening there and uncertainty that the markets have really kind of pushed that to the side and are focusing on core economics. So if you can see here on the right-hand green line there, we're on the far right-hand side, and we're actually, compared to last year, we're at lower rates than when we sold last year for you all. That, on the next page here, is the bid summary. As I mentioned, we did a competitive sale at 10 a.m. this morning. Any underwriting firm across the United States who's eligible to buy securities in Texas, we have our own list of firms that comply with some of the anti-boycott provisions the state legislature passed. So any firm that's eligible to do business with the Texas municipality has the option to bid. They had the information, and 10 firms did bid at 10 a.m. this morning, with the low bid being Stiefel Nicholas out of Birmingham, Alabama. They bid a 3.68%. The cover bid, actually, they bid 3.685, I should say. The cover bid was 3.688. So it was really tight between Stiefel Nicholas and BOK, which is the Bank of Oklahoma, out of Oklahoma. Even though it lists Dallas here, that's where they trade out of, but it's the Bank of Oklahoma. So they were really tight, those top 5 bids, about where they thought the interest rates were. Obviously, in this market, to be below 4% is great, and I think that speaks to there's a lot of uncertainty happening globally. There's a lot of uncertainty happening with the U.S. economy itself. I think people are looking for credits like Horseshoe Bay that has a strong bond rating, a well-run, well-managed community to put their money in something they believe is safe. So I think the benefit of having these low interest rates and the number of bids that you receive is really a flight to quality of people wanting to put their money someplace that they know it's not going to go away. So congratulations to you all. That's a direct result of clearly the management, the community itself, and everything that you're doing here. What that means on the next couple of pages, probably more for Molly's benefit than council's. This is obviously a debt service issue for tax-supported streets as well as some utility projects. The first page is just the debt service schedule combined. It's a 20-year issuance. Assuming that council decides to approve today, this would be callable, meaning that you have the option to refinance it should interest rates drop, or if you just wanted to pay it off for some reason, or a portion or all. You have that option beginning on August 15th of 2035, so a 9-year call option, which is a little bit better than the market standard of 10. Then we go into the tax-supported portion of the debt service. We have a slightly larger payment in that first year there. You're trying to quickly amortize the debt as much as you can when interest rates are relatively high. If we can pay it off faster, that lowers the total cost to the taxpayers and to the city as well. But then you can see that it levels out at about $345,000 a year until 2046. And then we go into the utility portion of it. That's level the entire time for the entire 20-year period. And then last page here is the sources and uses. You are receiving $8.4 million, which is what the CO notice was for. You're receiving that $8.4 million for projects, which I know looks a little bit odd because we're selling $8.125. As a reminder, that's because the market prices in a reoffering premium. Essentially, they have higher coupons than the reoffering yields. That protects them in secondary trading. But if you look down here on the deposit to project construction fund, the third line from the bottom there, it's $4.9 million for street projects and $3.5 million for utility projects, combining to $8.4 that the city will receive if you move forward today. We'd be closing on May 13th. So that's when the money would be in the city's accounts for you all to start spending. Happy to answer any questions, but obviously, congratulations. We didn't quite know what was going to happen in terms of the market and where everyone was and, you know, all the different actions that are happening in Iran, but you guys obviously timed it pretty well, as you usually do. So having that strong credit as well helps you to get through maybe a choppy time. So congratulations.
Thank you, Jennifer. And does anybody have any questions for Jennifer? And thank you for setting up our meeting with S&P when they came down.
Well, and thank you for taking your day and spending time as well. And the mayor obviously represented the city quite well.
Well, we appreciate you. So thank you very much. I'll entertain a motion now.
Okay, I move to approve ordinance 2026-10, authorizing the issuance and sale of City of Horseshoe Bay, Texas, combination tax and revenue certificates of obligation series 2026.
Motion by Mr. Weatherby. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Fetchner. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Our next item is 9B, and it is approval for vendor contract for construction management services for the Old Town Hall Center remodel. And that's going to be Molly?
That's correct.
You look like Molly.
I am Molly.
Okay.
All right, so again, so to ensure compliance with our city's policies for purchasing, we did actually Robert did a request for proposal and RFP. We have to do that when the services or goods are greater than 100,000, so we initiated that. And Robert, you here? Robert, you want to come up? Robert's going to talk about what all he did.
Good. Hello, Robert.
Hello, Mayor, Council. So I didn't really do much, same old thing, but fortunately and unfortunately, we only had one bid on that RFP, and but fortunately, the people that bid was a great company. After reviewing it and seeing what they came up with, looks like everything is going to work out great fine, so hopefully they will be approved today on this. I will just tell you a little bit, so we're going to try to do it in two different phases. And so like the first part, we'll be doing the first part of the building, and then once they finish that part, people will move to that part, and then we'll do the second part. So what this here company is going to do is they're going to come in and they're going to bring inspectors in, and they'll inspect the building, they'll inspect the roofing, the decking, everything that needs to be inspected. And as they do that, they'll be able to give us a price on each one of those. And then, of course, like the stuff that they could see, the regular remodeling of the front offices and taking everything out, the hallways, stuff that he can see, they bid on that. So the pricing on that was $70,000 to $80,000, depending on what items that they would find during the remodeling. Of course, anybody who ever remodeled anything know once you start tearing open walls, you might find something. But anyway, they're going to do that. Whatever the inspectors see, they're going to just, again, they're going to just bill us on that, when what they call substantiated billing for that part of the project. And so the inspector should run about $6,000. So unknown cost is, we don't know, but the known cost is roughly about $86,000.
Great. Robert, thanks for your good work on this. And this is the Old Town Hall Center that was the original mud building. And it's just needs a lot of work, but it's going to be very functional when we get it done. It's got some mold issues and roof issues and air conditioning issues. So needs to happen for health, safety, and welfare of our workers that continue to work over there. So, Robert, thank you for your work on this. I'll entertain any questions that you have of Robert or Molly. Okay, no questions. I will now entertain a motion.
I move to approve the vendor spa glass for professional construction management services for the town center remodel.
Motion by Mr. Morgan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Weatherby. Any discussion?
Mayor and council, I think you need an amount, $86,000 in the motion, and also we provided some city attorney comments.
We did. Yes.
And approved as to form by the city attorney to clear those comments.
I'm going to ask Mr. Weatherby to please remake his motion. Oh, Mr. Morgan, and to add $86,000 as the total amount, plus contingent upon the city attorney's final review of the contract, please.
Inspections. We've got the inspection in there. It's in there. I move to approve the vendor spa glass for professional construction management services for the town center remodel in the amount of $86,000, contingent on review by the city manager, city attorney.
Motion by Mr. Morgan, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Weatherby. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All against? The ayes have it. Thank you. We're going to move now to 9C, which is approval of an engagement letter for agreed-upon procedures for impact fees audit with JMS CPAs PLLC. Molly?
Yes, sir. So again, to ensure compliance with our policies, anything between the range of $5,000 to $999,000, the city requires 3 quotes from 3 different vendors. This is for the audit of our impact fee study, which is currently going on. So quotes were sent via emails in February to 3 different vendors and were due back in February, and no quotes were received. So the city then contacted several audit firms who were recommended, who were currently going through an impact fee study audit. The firm JMS CPAs sent in a proposal, and it was the only one, and it was reviewed by the finance director and the assistant city manager. We both talked to them, and we determined it to be acceptable. The audit is conducted in accordance with Senate Bill 1883, which requires the audit. And so staff is requesting approval of the engagement letter for the agreed-upon procedures for the impact fee audit with JMS.
And we don't have a final amount of that, do we?
It is $4,500. It actually came in under the $5,000.
$4,500.
Should be in the engagement letter.
Yeah, it's not. Okay. Do we have any questions of Molly with regard to this audit firm? No questions? I will entertain a motion. It needs to include the amount, which is $4,500, and it also needs to include a review and approval by our city attorney, contingent.
Approve the engagement letter as recommended by staff, including the, remind me again,
$4,500?
$500 impact fees, audit to the JMS CPA PLLC.
Hold on, I stand corrected. It's $6,500. It's listed, but it's $6,500, not $4,500.
Oh, okay.
So start over, I'm sorry.
Ms. Waddell, you're going to get another shot at this.
I don't know if I can.
If you want another shot. The price just went up to $6,500.
Quick, make the motion.
I'm sorry, Elaine.
So hurry through this one.
Okay.
And don't forget, it needs to be contingent upon the city attorney's review and approval, I'll remind you. Okay. Okay.
I move to approve the engagement letter as recommended by staff for the amount of $6,500. What else did I leave out?
Contingent upon the city attorney.
Contingent upon approval by the city attorney.
Right. So we got a motion by Ms. Waddell. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Pro Tem Morgan. Any,
Council, we looked at the, if they find discrepancies in the first year, they're going to charge $4,500 for the prior years. So you should include that in your motion. That's where the $4,500 came from. So the base year is $6,500. If they find a problem, they'll go back each year to rectify the problem for $4,500 per year.
Do we need the number of years as well? Is that a 3-year look back, or?
It's only if they find a error.
But they'll go back till they find the discrepancy at $4,500 per year.
ooh, okay.
Add to your motion, provided that if an error is found and a year has to be reviewed, then that year will be $4,500 until the error is corrected.
Can we make a friendly amendment to the motion that's on the table right now so that we don't have to repeat? Okay, do I hear a friendly amendment to this?
Yes, $4,500.
Look back?
Per year until
year.
the discrepancy is identified. Teamwork.
Is that clear enough, Susie? Thank you. Okay, so we've got a motion, we've got a second. Any further questions? Okay, I will take a vote now. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? The ayes have it. We're going to move on to 9D, and it is designating an official to calculate the property tax rate. That's going to be Molly again.
Yes, this is approval of a resolution 2026-14. There are some tax code that requires an officer or an employee be designated by the governing body to calculate the no new revenue tax rate and the voter approval tax rate for the taxing unit after submission of the certified appraisal rolls. Due to the specialized expertise required, the city elects to designate Chris Fogelborg, who is the Llano County Tax Assessor Collector, as its primary official for this purpose.
Thank you, Molly. Any questions for Molly?
Hey, Molly, this was a follow-up, I guess, from what we learned in Austin, so thanks for
sir.
doing that.
Yes, sir.
And there is no cost, correct? I don't see any.
No, it's just designated Chris
That's the
to
individual
do it.
that's-
He's done it every year.
Anybody else? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve Resolution 2026-14 as presented by staff.
Motion by Mr. Fetchner. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Weatherby. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against? The ayes have it. Now, 9E is going to be approval to authorize staff to execute a 3-year contract with GovWell Technologies, Inc. Is that going to be John? Yeah. John, you've got us.
Mayor and council, good evening. As you know, over the last, within the last 2 years, the Development Services Department has had 3 different permitting software programs that they've used 4 times. FundView, MGO, FundView, and now iWork, with not a lot of success. So staff, we've been looking into a new software program. We interviewed 3 different companies, GovWell, OpenGov, and Citywide. Staff would like to move forward with GovWell. Basically what GovWell is going to be providing us, I think, will be really good for the department. Some things that we'll be getting that we don't have now. So right now, anytime an applicant uploads documents, they're limited to the size. So you will have a lot of, it may be like 1 document, but it's 10 different pages. Whereas with GovWell, it can be 1. There's unlimited space when uploading documents. We're going to be able to track inspections better. It's really user-friendly. In full transparency, I've used it on both sides. The last city I was with used it. I've used it there for about 2 years. So I do know both sides of it, so I know sometimes it can be worrisome, with the sales pitch that might sound really good, and then you get to it and it's not so good. I don't have those concerns because, like I said, I've used it for 2 years. So any concerns that you might have, I hope we can squash those. Talking about earlier with the ACC and the communication, I think we're going to be able to communicate to them better. Anytime we get an application sent in, we're going to have it set up to where they will also be notified. Anytime when we first started at the prior city I was with GovWell, anytime we came to them with an idea, the answer wasn't no. It was, we don't have that right now. Let's get with our engineers and figure out how we can get to a solution, and then got to a solution. I'm pretty sure it was every single time. So with that being said, in the packet, you do have the 3 quotes. You do have a business care letter from GovWell. And then if you go to page 121, under section 4, summary of fees and terms. So the implementation fee, data migration from all the other softwares that we have into GovWell, you're looking at just a little over $17,000. The annual subscription fee would be $24,500, but for the first year, we're going to get a discount of $21,500 because we would still be in contract with iWork. So GovWell took that into consideration. So for the first year, you're going to see it's a little less than year 2 and year 3. And to give you a little bit of background about GovWell, they don't work with big cities, so you're not going to find them in Dallas and San Antonio. They work with those small to mid-sized cities. So if you go to page 132, you'll see some cities in Texas that GovWell works with, and you can tell it ranges from 7,500 to a little over 45,000. So we kind of fit within that size population. So with that being said, staff would like to move forward with GovWell.
Questions?
John, if I could ask, per our conversation this morning, first of all, after doing lots of software development projects in my lifetime, the prices look very reasonable, especially the data migration pricing looks very, very good. What I don't see, though, is if we were to integrate through the application programming interfaces to potential citywide software, is there a per-hour rate that we would be charged for that, and do we know somewhat what that might be in our future, Rick or Jeff?
We would probably have to ask him that. What'll end up happening with both of them is, for argument's sake, we'll just say Cassell is who we use now. You'll have GovWell and Cassell, and then there'll be some negotiation for who pays what, or a third party. But we can, if council wants, we can ask what their hourly rate would be, or if they can give us a rough.
Yeah, just hey, we've got 10 interfaces, and that's pretty standard kind of thing. I think they could give us a view on what that would look like. I don't imagine that's significant, but
Yes, sir.
always be helpful to know.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, we can reach out and get that information. Do you want that prior to approval, or do you want us to just?
That would be my preference, but I always like to make sure the contract is what we're expecting, and there's no surprises. But I'd also want to impede your progress, John. I know this is going to be a great step forward for us in terms of, what it'll provide for the community, but I don't think that
Could you put something in there pending?
pending, yeah,
Just
something
with-
less
with
than.
conditions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Conditions, you okay?
That way you
Yeah.
can
Now, I
move
do have a
on with
question. Do I have to state, because
Yeah, it's got a lot of,
the financial part of this?
So I did the math, and I do have the number,
Okay.
if you need to throw that in there.
So, but what I've noticed, you showed us, we have 17,875 to start, and then the annual subscription fee is 24,500. Which one do I have to
It's,
state?
the first year would be 20,875.
For year one, for the subscription fee, they gave us a $21,500 discount. So it's the
okay.
The total would be the
17.
20,000, yeah,
right.
20,875.
deployment and annual subscription fees are together then?
Yes.
Okay.
Bonnie was quizzing me on that, so I was.
Do I need, all right, in the resolution, do I include that?
Yes, you have to have the amount in there. And then
The annual amount or the first year?
the first year.
What about the annual amount?
The
Because it's different than the first year.
includes that discount, so that the 20,000 is the total for the first year. But then you wanted to add,
City attorney approval.
Well, the approval of the review of the integration costs, pending
All right, this-
expected or reasonable integration costs.
Is what? I didn't hear you, Molly.
Oh, it's iWorks, okay.
So iWork is the one that we have now.
Yes.
So the 21,500 would still go to iWork. GovWell would be giving us.
The discount
money back.
is still with iWork.
Right.
Okay, but then what's the 17,875? That's 21,500 plus 17?
That would bring,
No.
bring all the,
If you look at the invoice schedule at the bottom there, Frank, that 20,875 includes the 17,000 implementation, the annual subscription less the discount,
Okay, I'm just going to state that.
$20,875,
State that
yeah.
then.
Do we have any other questions first before we take a motion?
How long has GovWell been operating?
Probably close to 10 years.
Okay.
So they're fairly new in the permitting world.
Okay.
But you
But
feel
they are-
real
they-
comfortable with them?
I do. They're based out of New York, but they're expanding all over the United States. Like I said, I have 2 years, it's a little over 2 years' experience with them. I don't have any issues or reserves about moving forward with them.
And you do have issues with iWork? Be honest.
Finance very specifically
Yes.
has issues with this.
Okay,
Okay.
good. Now,
Do I have to include the iWorks in this resolution? Okay.
okay, I will entertain a motion now.
All right, I'll take a shot at it. I move to approve the request by Development Service Department to move forward and execute a 3-year contract with GovWell Technologies with year 1 invoice schedule of $20,875, year 2, $24,500, and year 3, $24,500, as presented.
Can we also have an agreement to?
With the contingency that they come up with an hourly rate
For the integration costs.
for integration costs.
And our city attorney reviews the contract.
And with the city attorney approval of contract language.
Good, Frank. Okay, we've got a motion by Mr. Hosea. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Morgan. Any other questions? Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All against? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
9F, amending the High Zone Transmission Main, Project 4499-2401, to the contract price, and that's going to be Cody. Cody.
Mayor, Council, we are coming to you for an improvement on an amendment for the High Zone Transmission Main for a change order in the amount of $190,103.50. A little bit of description for council's awareness on what went into this change order. Ran into some problems in the field with our contractors with the transmission line, having to go more into the road, which is more asphalt to repair the roads. And then the additional thing was, had parts come into our tie-in for the pump house, and we looked into it with our engineers present and thought there was more operational and efficiency ways to do it, and we did that as well. So overall, that's what's involved in the change order. Also, for y'all's knowledge, we have Nelson Lewis on standby. With your approval of this, they can start on the 23rd with the repairs. And then also have Stuart Cow and Jason Renna here from LJ if y'all have any more in-depth questions for it.
What percentage of this is for additional road and what?
I believe we did the math and it came out to about 7% increase, or sorry, you want it broken down?
Of the
190.
I would say probably about 5% road, 2% the pump house, and then, yeah.
Because the
5%.
pump house is our request for change.
Yes.
So the unknown here was that we had to go into the road.
Yes, sir, the majority of it was we had to go into the
All
road.
right, that's what I thought.
Can you give us a timeline on that road?
As far as completion and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So they can start on the 23rd, is what Nelson Lewis told us. I believe they are given a 160-day contract time. I'll ask Jason to speak on the date from which that goes from. But I believe they have until May 7th. Am I right on that? Okay. They have till May 7th to get everything repaired.
Are we putting up the mobile signs?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah, we'll make sure that we have digital signs up.
Okay.
Detour signs. I believe Cindy's already sent a blast out to make the public aware that it will be coming. Or no, we're going to be putting a blast out once upon your approval. I'm sorry.
Right, great. Okay, any other questions?
So if we approve the change order, that will complete the project. There won't be any
And
other.
I'll say this too, I'm sorry, council. With this change order even go into effect, we still do not go above the bid that was higher, the one bid higher than ours.
Okay,
So we're
great.
still good.
Still good. Okay, any other questions? I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve change order number 1 in the amount of $190,103.50 submitted by LJA Engineering, Inc., amending the High Zone Transmission Main Project, number 4499-2401, contract price from $2,749,633 to a total revised contract amount of $2,939,736.50 as presented.
Motion by Mr. Fetchner. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Hosea. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All against? The ayes have it. Thank you very much, Cody and LJA. Okay, that does it for our business section. We're going to move now to the consent agenda. And first thing I'll ask council is if they have reviewed the consent agenda and would like to pull anything off for discussion. I assume by your silence that's a no, and I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Motion by Mr. Weatherby, second. Second by Ms. Waddell. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? And the ayes have it. We're going to move to monthly reports.
Mayor, we do not have any monthly reports for this month.
Okay, okay. So no monthly reports. Any liaison reports by any of our council members?
You just voted on it. That was me.
Okay. All right. We are now going to move into executive session. The audience is free to sit here if you'd like. That's fine. We're going to go to the conference room in the back here, and I am going to go into executive session at 4:06 p.m. And the reason for that is Texas Government Code Section 551.074 on the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, police chief. And we will go into executive session now.
And you made my motion so easy today by marking them for me and everything. That was good. Man, don't you move over there now.
Oh, there's Jeff.
Okay.
Okay, council is back from executive session, and we are back on the record at 4:58 p.m. I would like to say that no action was taken in the executive session by the council, and I want to turn it over to Mr. Koska.
Yes, I'd like for the council to consider that the recommendation that I'm making that Assistant Police Chief Paul Nelson would continue as acting police chief until such time, as per our policy, till such time as I can bring back recommendations for a replacement for the position. Unless y'all have another.
Anybody have a motion? Okay. All right.
Okay. I'll do it then.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Do we
Motion.
need to have a motion of what do we
No.
want to do? Okay.
No.
I move to adjourn.
Motion by Mr. Fetchner,
Second.
second by Mr. Weatherby. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? No. Meeting is adjourned.